Hear that? That's the sound an iPhone makes when it snaps a picture. The question is, why was this North Texas police officer taking a picture while he had George Zimmerman's driver's license in his hand?
There's your license from signal warning day for your speed. That's it, sir.
The news leader, broadcasting for all North Texas. Fox 4 News starts now.
The city of Forney says there is not any formal investigation into the picture taking as of now, but they are asking questions. Hello, everybody. I'm Heather Hayes.
And I'm Steve Eager. It's 9 o'clock. Here's that part of the dash cam footage again when George Zimmerman was pulled over on Highway 80 in Forney. Listen. The officer is sitting in his patrol car at the time with Zimmerman's driver's license in hand when you can hear the picture taken. And you can also hear some texting going on. First on Fox 4, Phil Alvarado in Forney with what else the city is saying about this whole thing tonight. Phil.
Well, Steve, this is that section of Highway 80 in Forney where George Zimmerman was pulled over. And as you said, you can hear the click of that iPhone shutter clearly on the officer's microphone, and you hear it after he's already in his car running the license plates. A lot of people heard those sounds. The city manager of Forney tells me that it was TMZ who called and say, hey, what about it? And they have agreed to go ahead and find out exactly what happened.
After George Zimmerman got pulled over by a Forney police officer, Zimmerman told the officer he had a gun in the glove box, and he made sure the officer knew who he was.
What a coincidence.
It's all on the police dash cam, but what you don't hear is this. Listen to it again. It's the unmistakable sound of the iPhone camera shutter. After that, you hear the unlock sound and typing on the keyboard. The Forney city manager says others have heard the same sounds on the dash cam video, and the police department will ask the officer about it. And while he wouldn't comment on camera, Brian Brooks says the officer is not under investigation. We are just looking into the claim that he took a picture of the driver's license.
I think we're going to see more and more of it.
Attorney Pete Schulte, who's not connected with the Forney Police Department, is a former police officer himself and does training in police academies.
If he took a picture of Zimmerman's driver's license, I don't see any problem with that. I mean, officers have a right to have a phone with a camera just like anybody else. The question then becomes is what they do with that information, and there's no evidence that that particular photo went any further than the police department.
Schulte says police departments have strict policies on information they gather while on duty.
Most police departments are going to have policies that say any information that you come across in the course of your duty is confidential. In other words, it's not going to be shared with anybody outside the department.
The Forney city manager says the officer who stopped Zimmerman is on his regular days off and won't be back at work until Saturday. That's when they'll ask him what happened.
I mean, the only issue that's going to come about is if that information was shared outside of the law enforcement community.
Schulte says most police departments are working to catch up with new social media policies, and so most policies on something like this may not be clear for officers.
I don't think that this particular situation is addressed in most police department policies, and I think it will be as time goes on. But I don't think that the policies of most police departments have caught up with the Twitter and Facebook and what can be done on those sites now.
The police department here in Forney has not identified the police officer who made that stop, but again, they want to stress to us that the officer is not under any kind of formal investigation. The clicks, once they were brought to the attention of the city said they had not noticed them before, but they will find out exactly what happened. Steve?
All right, Phil, so they haven't questioned the officer, won't do that until Saturday. Get the idea, I guess I have kind of twofold questions here. Do you get the idea the chief knows something about what happened, and you get the feeling he even thinks it's a big deal or not? Do you get any read on that?
Well, yeah, we've talked to the city manager who has talked to the police chief, and that's who we've been funneled through. Yeah. We were talking to the city manager on this case. And but what he tells me is that the chief has told him that right now he does not think that this officer violated any kind of department policy. And what he surmises is that if he did in fact take a picture of the driver's license, that he might have done that, and he might have even sent it to a supervisor and said, hey, this is who I just stopped. You might be getting some calls on this. But as Pete Schulte pointed out, if it went further than that, then even the city manager says they may have an issue.
Okay. All right. Phil Alvarado, thank you.